Good morning. Welcome to the NFT morning. Today is April 1st. And actually, I just did
Oh
a
shit.
small. I'm sorry for the full, I played with the 100 collector theme because it's the second time we're doing this introduction for people who discovering it. This is why everybody is smiling there because I was not recording the first version of the episode. The good point is we had time to do a small dry run all together before. So we know what we're gonna talk about. So today is 100 collectors morning. We do this every month with the 100 collectors team, and I have the chance to be with my dear Rem. What's up, Rem?
Hello, hello. How are you?
So Rem is here live from Cannes East CC, and keep in
Yeah,
mind that later we will do another episode about what's has been
yeah.
Hit CC. And we are with Pauline, Fanny, and Eleonora from 100C. Pauline, everything okay? How things are going with 100C?
Everything's out is doing great here. Yeah, we are doing a lot of things. We've done crazy amount of things during the month of March, with the 1st of April. So a new month starting. But yeah, last month we were in Madrid with Fanny. She did a lot of things there, and Eleonora in Hong Kong. So that's what we are
So
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
today.
This month you had Arco Madrid also, where you've been active, and and I believe also, you have a lot of activities. I believe Fanny, you got an article in Fish Eyes magazine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I
This
know.
morning and again like we didn't pay for it, so it's always nice to see a surprise like feature on 100 collectors. So some
But
people see things, so it's great.
I say it every time, but I will say it again. 100C, 100 collectors is really is gold for everyone. For everyone, gold gems. For everyone interested by digital arts. The work you're bringing, the content you're producing. I really invite you to follow on social media, to get the newsletter, to be in the group. I'm part of hundreds and hundreds of group newsletters. It's one of the few ones that I'm happy to discover and to read because I learn a lot of things. You are producing a lot, and I think you did it also one more time in Hong Kong for the new the 010, the Hong Kong chapter of 010 at Art Basel. And Eleonora, you're still in Hong Kong right now. How are you?
Good. Yeah, good. Still in Hungary. Sorry, I'm laughing because of the repetition. Um, it's good in Hong Kong. The week was great. 010 and many other things happening, but obviously we were very much concentrated on the digital art sector. Still here, and some exhibitors are pretty much everyone left, but someone stayed for like a few more days. So yeah, this was the second edition of 010, which was another, I would say, glorious edition, like the one in Miami, slightly different in terms of like a presented art, which is also like an interesting point to discuss, as even Art Basel is obviously like very much mirroring like the places where it happens. So Miami's is always like louder in terms of everything, like from parties to exhibited art, and Hong Kong is more quite balanced. It's the Asian art fair. There's always like both less risk and also less like loud things, and so it's always like really nice to see like really like the reflection of the different like continents where it happens. And 010, I mean, 010 is special because it has its own existence in the digital art like world, but still like mirroring a little bit the feeling of these different cities, I think. And we could also see by the fact that many galleries also try to show, for instance, like Asian artists, which didn't necessarily happen in Miami.
Okay, so just for yeah, so that's interesting. So 010, that is, we talked about it 2 months ago. That was released for the first time within Art Basel. So the first time digital sector is including inside of the fair. Started in Miami in December. It's the second time 010. So this that 010 is happening. So for the Hong Kong edition, and so yeah, for you. So yeah, I mean the 010 for the digital sector, they played a bit the same game that galleries are playing when they're going to Art Basel Hong Kong. So being more quiet, being more, because Miami was a bit crazy. The Beeple dogs, the Jack Butcher's bills, the like yeah, the crowd, the kids, the people. Here it was more like more harmonious in a way, right?
I wouldn't say that the plate like more quiet, but I would say that it is very natural for like a fair and for like galleries to actually select, and it's a very good decision to select based on the place where you go. So, for instance, at the presence of many like Asian artists is very like important. And then obviously for instance, like in Miami we did have the people's dog. I would say that it was not replaced, but the most performative booth that we had in Hong Kong was So When we Artex Code and Fellowship, and it's a totally different kind of performance, very like very very different. And obviously So When she is an Asian artist, and her art and her collaborative practice with the robots and with technology and with the machine is still very much embedded in this painting practice that you can also see that it's very much rooted in Asian art. So yeah, so this was like a big signal, for instance, of what was picked as a performative booth, which
Yeah,
was very it was very incredible. And also like many 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 visitors at the performance times.
yeah, we can see your video quickly also here for people watching videos. But this, I think, yeah, it's one of the performance that really, when you, I have the feeling that even when you work within Art Basel or in the digital sector, you have this massive setup that, from what I saw, of course, I only just saw the videos, but you had like a huge, I don't know if it's paper or silk roll up, hanging from a very high point, maybe like 5 or 6 meter high, and that is unrolled. So basically unrolled until the floor. And, basically you can see basically like the, of course, yeah, traditional kind of ink in a way, Chinese drawings. And, of course, and this is also the link with the digital, you can see that beside the artist herself, two machines, two robots, with brushes, are basically painting in the same time than the artist. So you have, this is where you see also the performance. So working all together. So it's kind of a collab of machines reproducing the traditional, these traditional skills from basically millenary. I would say Chinese knowledge plus the artist herself. But this is what I saw. So yeah, this is.
Yeah, we
And
have
I think
this
maybe it's important, Eleonora, also maybe to give some background about Sugwen, because when people see this, they're like, oh, like more robots, like. But she's been doing that for decades, right? Like, so it's not just a choice, like a random choice. Like, I don't know, like, I mean, Eleonora,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know more about her
No,
art,
no,
but I think
yeah,
it's
yeah. Yeah, she's been doing that. So she's been collaborating with the robots for more than 10 years, and then the robots are trained with like 30 years of her drawing data. And lately they added like data coming from I don't remember the name of the device that you put in your head, so it like it captures the like brain kind of
waves.
like, and yeah, waves. And so also used that, so it's so one is like she has been evolving this practice with the dot robots for like, for a very long time.
And
So
I do want to show this art in America because that was 2020.
right? Like this was, she made the cover of Art in America, which was one of the main magazines, like art magazines. Very traditional, nothing related to digital in 2020.
Yeah. And also, another thing that I really liked is that the booth of Fellowship and Art Code, honestly, like the execution of the booth was high level. It was high level, even for like the whole Art Basel thing. And so in the back of this, like Chinese like paper scroll, you had a huge screen where basically they were showing, which is an artwork. It is all the captured data of the performance and the collaboration that is happening. It's really great. Plus the paintings, really, really great execution. So when a booth was at the entrance, so you enter the convention center, 010 was advertised everywhere, on the like stairs, on the walls. It was advertised everywhere, and it was on the third floor. And so you arrive, you enter, and on your right you find the Sowen booth, and on your left you find the art blocks. So this is how the 010 sector would start, which was a pretty nice. Art blocks also presenting physical works, so a full collection of physical works. But you could also, there was also like an interactive part, because in the middle, you could, in the center, there was like this there was, you had access to art blocks, and you could mint one piece, and then it will print it in a small format for you. So it was very nice.
Yeah, I got one actually. I have one of my. I
Nice.
sent someone to get one of the artist RV. Sorry, oh,
Right,
shit.
it was
What is
Rainer.
his next name again?
Rainer.
Rainer.
Harvey
Heavy Rain.
Rainer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So thank you, Ismail, for helping me to have one. I'm waiting for my print. But
It was
okay,
very
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice collection.
So you were choosing, LA, like you were choosing the works you wanted. Like how was the experience?
You could generate new work. So it's like generating, and you can mint the one you like, and then you mint, and it prints it for you.
Yeah.
So this was like outside of the main collection with the physical pieces. And something like this was also happening in Robert Tallis' booth with On Chaos, where I'm talking about having like physical collection of other. So it was prints for art blocks, it was paintings for Robert Tallis, but then you still have these like centered little interactive like place where people can actually decide to mint. So like to interact with the blockchain and having access to both like more affordable and more like educational and more interactive, like means. And then there was so you asked me like what my crush was. I really loved the Boto booth. It was one of the highlights for the way that it was built. Honestly, it was great. We discussed about this with the I was telling the Boto people, the fact that you figure out a way of having people come into Boto booth and not having them leave after 5 seconds when you name the word governance, I think was already very successful. And in order to do this, they had to build an entire performance around it, so that people could actually experience participation, AI creation, and the governance without talking about it, which I thought was it was done very well. So at the Batu booth, so basically you had like you had a camera that was like detecting people, and then obviously it was also like a very nice entry point, because then people, the first thing that attracts people is that you enter the booth and you see yourself in the camera, but it doesn't matter so people will stay. And also because people will stay, Botto will have more time to actually pick people, so you are like on camera, and Botto detects different people that it's interested in. So I was told that it will detect diversity. that was at the factor that it will detect. And then like you can see on the screen, the like a square is going to appear around you, and then like if Botto picks you, then you like are like you're going to appear on the screen as the winner. So you're not the winner, you're a participant. And then you are sent to another screen where there is a bunch of agents discussing like who is gonna win between these 11-12 people that Botto picked. It was very cool. So they discussed. So one day they had like Claude agents, one day they had GPT, one day they had DeepSeek. So every day they will have a different AI model agents. So they discuss, and then they decide who is gonna make it into the artwork. So once you got picked, I got picked. So I was so between like these 12 people, you get picked. So what happens is that Bot is gonna give you a receipt, and basically like your character, your person, like you are going to be part of the artworks that Botto is creating live during the fair. So like your presence in the artwork is going to create something. Like Mario made a joke about me. It's like, okay, oh, you're a nice crack on the floor, like your interaction with the work somehow, like you contribute to the actual creation of the work. Now Botto did this for 5 days, like like people on the camera picking people, discussing with the agents, detecting winners, printing for this certificate that I'm gonna tell you what it is for the winners, and then like put your personality. And it was giving you like different personality, either confusion or joy, based on like how you will move, and then you are part of the artwork. So in this like receipt that you get, at first there is like very it's a pretty incredible like text. For instance, like Botto told me that they smiled often, especially at unexpected changes. And then it seems like he picked me for the coat. So I had this like coat with polka dots, and he said that coat, he told me, you see the funny side of everything. I like that about you. And then you have access to Botto tokens. So now you're part of the Botto DAO. You have like a code where you're going to redeem your tokens, and this is a perfect and nice way for people to experience governance without even talking about it. And then if the work that you were part of with your interaction is going to be sold, you're also going to receive money because you're part of the DAO of the artwork. So then these videos were like extracted, and in the next days, I think they're gonna be put online to be collected. But the videos are very nice, and also it was also nice to see how the art that Botto created is very different based on the different models. Like the GPT is completely different from DeepSeek. Like DeepSeek is very dark. GPT is very boring and artsy. Like it's very interesting.
So can I just say something about the governance, because I think this is, and I mean, full disclaimer, I vote on Bolo governance every week, and been in many DAOs. I don't think I've ever voted on many of these DAOs, and I think it's very smart, right? Like, and yesterday, because I have a reminder every Tuesday to vote on Bodo's artworks.
Maybe Fanny, you can just, for people who don't know
Yes.
Botto, because it's a complex project, and what is the concept of voting every week in?
So Botto has been, so Botto is so there's one artist like that started it, Mario Klingemann, and who started this AI that was trained on art historical artworks, right? Like, and so every week the AI, so the Bodo AI, like creates many outputs, like with prompts and like different visuals, different styles. Like there's some different periods, and every on all of these outputs, the community of the DAO, of the Bodo DAO, votes on selecting the best output for the community of the DAO. And then this artwork that gets voted by the community gets auctioned, and part of the proceeds get back into the most of the proceeds get back into the DAO to fund projects like going to an art fair, like with Bodo at Art Basel Hong Kong, or creating like other or evolving Bodo. And so the more you vote, like you accumulate some more governance token, and you're not gonna get rich on that, but there's a whole community around it. And yesterday, when I voted my weekly vote, in the chat, I saw people who joined like from having seen Bodo at Art Basel Hong Kong. In the governance chat, we were like, "Hey, my first time voting after Hong Kong, amazing!"
Nice.
And so this is brilliant. Like you go to an art fair and you actually find people to vote on a governance DAO. I mean, to me, it's never heard of.
Yeah, no,
Nice.
I think Boto is doing an amazing job, and again, I think we're just catching few elements, of what you've been experiencing. But it's always, it's really like democratization of what is a DAO, what is the blockchain, what is governance, what is, of course, how AI are working. Also, beside the fact that the project itself is very pioneering, because they started 4 years ago to have an agentic artist. That's okay. Now it starts to become something common in 2026, even if it's still very innovative actually. So that's and I believe from what I heard also, it's really something, this installation that Boto did could be the kind of thing you can find in the institutions or museums, because it's very pedagogic also in a way.
Yeah, it was more about that actually like an art fair booth. It was really
but they were selling pieces, and they did an open edition also that was, I think, pretty successful.
on OpenSea. The pieces are gonna be for sale in the next days, which is the pieces that Botto created during the fair. And even like the starting image was voted by the DAO. Like the starting image of where Botto will start from that image to create these videos. When people interact, they will speak by the DAO.
And I think it's kind of the philosophy also of Boto, even the shows. I don't know how much, because of course, the AI is not doing everything, but I have this feeling that many elements. For example, I was in Lisbon actually 2 months ago. They did a show at Eterno, and the show they did was, some part were kind of decided by Boto, some other part of it were decided by the DAO had to vote on few elements on it. So they try to really have this collab between the AI, the DAO, and the team, of course, because the team have a central role.
It's still far from being fully autonomous, for whatever that means, but
of course, I think everybody knows that. So far it's still early for this kind of thing, but it's very interesting. No, and it was the opportunity. I minted few, so I was happy because it's pretty affordable on OpenSea. I think it's $25 to get a Boto, and when you know the price of the one pieces, I think they are more affordable. When I say affordable, I don't know. Fanny knows better than me, maybe the current price, because the agent is still releasing pieces, but it's pretty expensive. So having an open edition, I was happy to have some.
Yeah, I think on super rares they still go over like 2-3 ETH. At their worst time, right? Like this is kind of the floor. Like I would say 3 ETH.
So so you mentioned quickly also Robert Alice. I think also it was interesting in terms of you have this link also with the on-chain activity, the ability, go short, but this system where you can basically write down something in their interface. It is generating based on what it's kind of trendy also, this mix of part of yourself into the, your inputs into the work, and then, creating something that can be digital, that was also exhibited, I believe, in Basel. Okay, so quickly, because time is running. Just for in terms of other artists, I believe that we will name them very fast, but I believe DK was there, Jack Butcher was there. So DK was Jack Butcher. It was the second time actually he did Art Basel. Kim Asendorf with Nguyen Wahid. You mentioned, Amy Cusano also had a booth, Claire Silver and Thank You X. And one that I really wanted to see also, and it was Office Impart and Jonas Lund.
It was very nice.
And very impressive work. So, okay, we're dropping a lot of nice names, I would say. And actually, it's also...
What was nice is that all these artists that you mentioned, it's very different practices for digital, art that uses technology in its creation. So the overview was quite comprehensive. Like you have Jonas Lund, who has who comes from really new media art and really presenting computers and putting on the surface what happens behind the computer, people interacting with the systems. You have Emi Kusano, who's completely AI, nostalgic aesthetic of this Japanese. The practices were very different. So you have physical pieces, you have very digital, you have DK coming from 100% video game aesthetic. Also, DK was picked by Art Basel with the Office of Tourism that collaborated to actually do the digital art premiere. So we went to this place, went to the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, and then there was this cocktail, and then at a certain point they turned on the facade with the DK piece on the building in front of the hotel. So DK was also his presence was pretty important in the fair, but really you have more or less performative and more or less traditional. So I think it was a very good overview in what's going on, what's possible, how to use the technology in different ways, and really how to relate to some technologies especially AI and the blockchain in different ways. I think that for a visitor who doesn't know about digital art, to come to 010 and go through the booth gives a nice glimpse of what's happening right now, I think.
Okay, because this is the question I had, of course, also. Okay, it's always the question, because it's all the point, and this is why we are talking about it so much, especially within the digital art space. The fact that this movement is becoming integrated part of the contemporary art world, basically, and recognized part of the contemporary art world. Did you get this feeling that, you mentioned that it was highly advertised? I believe, did you have this feeling, and it was very central, that, basically, at the end of the day, again, in a way, 010 was the main attraction of Art Basel Hong Kong?
It was a big attraction. In Miami, it was crazy because of people. So it was different. In Miami, it was under attack. The sector was under attack in the public. It was crazy. Also because people would give the prints at certain times, and it was just crazy. So I didn't think it was like that. Which is not necessarily bad, but it was one of the big attractions. Everyone was talking about it, and certainly people interact in digital, in the 010 sector. I found it to be less loud than what happened in Miami, even in terms of participation, these waves of people coming to get the prints, and but the booth and go Pauline.
No, I wanted to ask you if you felt in Miami, if the fact that the artists are present and really interacting. You could see again Jack Butcher being there whole day, every day. Like this in Miami, you could really feel this was bringing some energy and traction to the to 010. And did you feel the same in Hong Kong?
Yes, this is our major entry point for the world, that we have artists in the fair. Nobody else has artists. I mean, until like a few years ago, if you were an artist and showing up in your own booth, you would just be like a total failure. Like artists will either like hide or absolutely not showing up in a commercial space, and the digital art space is completely different. And so all the artists were there, and it's one major like entry point for everyone to be really happy to visit the sector, which is the artists. They were all there. We were able to do like all the 14 videos of the booth with the artists. They were all there. So there was not one single booth that only Kim Asendorf wasn't present in the fair.
Okay.
Otherwise, like everyone was there.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's it's very strong. So because it's also the what we mentioned, especially specifically actually in it was the case in Miami with people taking his own booth. So it was not represented by a gallery, and the booth was not managed by a gallery. Here we have kind of still companies like Art Blocks that technically are not a gallery, even if now they are representing a lot of artists who got a booth.
There was not so in Hong Kong there was not solo artist booth with like not representation.
Yeah.
But I think it's I mean, and I don't know, I mean, we'll see how it evolves, but for artist studios to man their own booths, you need a commercial team, right? Like, I mean, it is still a commercial event, and it is great that the fair opens the booth to not galleries, because that's also quite an achievement. Like John, you mentioned like quite freely that like Art Blocks, or like it seems simple that like Art Blocks like is exhibiting there. It is not, right? Like, I mean, this is let alone an artist, like, but a platform or someone who's not like a brick and mortar gallery that has been established for a long time. Like, it's kind of unheard of. So I think this is quite interesting. But that said, like, it's still almost a full week of selling artworks. It is a specific like skill, right? Like, and so this is great that the artists now are actually part of it, because as Eleonora mentioned, like traditionally, like artists are like, or even the galleries are like, no, you stay home. Like, we'll sell the works. But this requires more context, more education, like like more interaction. So it's nothing is better than hearing it from the artist.
Yeah, we had like Kevin Bosch on site all the time, speaking to every single visitor. Mario Klingemann, I don't know how many. It's just talked for 5 days nonstop. Jack doing all the performances, talking to everyone. For instance, I see Artist production house. Like, it's not a gallery, so that's another like there were like different formulas. It's
Yeah, I like this. It's the idea in a way. Yeah, this is what they do, and that's very interesting. But okay, yeah, it's a big topic, but also at the end of the day, it comes also, I think it's the intersection of, on one hand, the art world and the art fair crisis. You have a small crisis also in this world. So when you have a crisis, you need to question yourself. You need maybe to try new things. And I think it is why also 010 is coming at this moment where, where Art Basel itself, is questioned as an art fair, basically. And I'm pretty sure that in a way it's bringing value, to Art Basel to have a digital sector. And I think it's my point. It's always the same point. What are we? Do we have collectors, new collectors, thanks to this kind of initiatives? Basically, I don't know. Maybe you've been chatting or you saw or you observe? Do you think like a key, what we call the trad collector, this famous persona that we've been talking about for the last 4 years, does this trad art collector has been buying stuff at Art Basel?
So the question that I asked the galleries that I was very interested in is if they had Asian art collectors. Because I mean, before talking about traditional art collectors, we already have so few, even if we don't know how many digital art collectors are in Asia. It's still to be discovered. But it seems like it was also traditional art collectors. The answer seemed to be yes, like collectors from Hong Kong and from China, specifically for booth that had more physical art, and other booth which were more digital. It was more of our crowd. But I think that the answer could be yes to your question. It seems like the fair was able to bring some new collectors from Asia, and not necessarily coming from crypto. But the not necessarily coming from crypto, I'm not sure 100%. I'm only sure that geographically we did have new collectors.
Okay.
I know there's an interesting post, so if you want to show it, like John, that I'm showing now, like from actually Harvey Rayner, that said that a very high percentage of his new collectors are Chinese middle-aged women. So
That's true.
we don't know if it's kind of just the style of his series that attracted them, but there were a few reports like that, of other booths selling to private Chinese collectors, and so on. It's still doesn't really give us an overall view, but there've been reports.
Okay. No, it's interesting. So because it means that, yeah. So it's okay. You have always different layers, for an artist or a gallery to show up and to exhibit in a fair. Of course, in the ideal scenario, it's being break even at least, and even making money. So basically, you're coming. Huh?
Yeah, imagine that.
So, I believe, these kind of booths, it depend on them, but I can believe, for example, the one from Fellowship, for me, it's, I believe, pretty expensive one, for example. But, for all of them, it's an investment. I would say maybe 100K minimum to be in the fair. Getting your booth is already maybe 60, 70K plus all the setup. Depending on what you do, it could be 30 to 100 on top of it. So, it's a huge investment from all the space. It means that collectively, the space is putting maybe 1 million into Art Basel or something like this. It's my event organizer brain that is talking about it basically. So, I mean, yeah, for me, it's interesting, to understand, first, if they are break even. Maybe they don't need to be break even, because maybe it's bringing, the impact of being at Art Basel is enough. But on one hand, it's a good stuff. On the other hand, if they're not break even, it means that, maybe, as we know, we don't have so much money in the space. So, I'm always thinking, how long it can run, if how long it can run, it could work basically.
Well,
Yeah,
I
and
was
how
talking.
many times per year you can do it, right? Also,
Yeah.
because
Many
it's the
times
same
per year.
gallery, the same people.
Yeah.
Because, on one hand, of course, the energy was not the same. But, I think you're right. Miami has never been the same than Hong Kong in terms of Art Basel, and Basel itself is not the same energy again. For Art Basel for some really art purist is the only one and the best. For people like me, it's a bit boring. So, it depends on the perspective basically. So yeah, and it's very different. But yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah, I don't know. You've been talking with people with booths. the overall feeling is that they are happy, right? I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone was pretty happy, but it is an investment. It's not, and it's not only the digital sector. I mean, the digital sector even has very accessible price to the booth. If you talk to any gallery, I was talking even to Ecos, which the booth price is pretty much the same. My friend with the gallery in Shanghai literally told me we are the poor people who they really want in Art Basel because we have great content. So the booth is cheap for us, but to break even for them is very hard, they said. I mean, we talk about like adding one spotlight for $500. He was convinced that Art Basel shut down the it was very dark, like they shut down the big lights. He was like, they probably shut it down to let us buy more hot spots. Now it's a joke, it's not a joke, but for galleries to go to Art Basel, it's not the digital sector, it's very expensive, I don't know if they break even like all of them. So it is an investment. So
No, but you don't need to break even again, because first, for most of the people who's been there forever, they can say, I was in Art Basel at least once. So it's already something that is.
right, but it's an art
Yeah,
fair.
but
You
it's
gotta
a business, huh?
Yeah.
Eventually,
Yeah, but that's
need to
also
live from it.
why if you ask a gallery, it will always go well, right? Like, because this is not
Yeah, of
something
course. The first answer is always great,
They cannot afford to say that it did not go well,
Yeah.
because that's already invalidating like everything they've spent. So it's very hard to know the truth.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So it's so the message, yeah, and this is how I will say it's amazing. I think for the space at this stage, it's interesting. It's creating an impact. It's democratized in a way. I believe that doing Miami first, Hong Kong next, yeah, it's sending a message. I would love this to go ahead, but if we want this to go ahead, it means that yeah, it's an investment from all these artists and all these galleries, especially. So of course, if it's not midtermly financially profitable, it will ask more questions. And then, the question is, can we, do we have more people going every year there or less people going there? And if we have less, then, yeah, maybe the frequency, as you mentioned, Pauline, is in question also. Because, I don't know, do you know, are they planning to do the digital sector in Basel also?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So that's, it's a lot.
Paris, no, I think, right? We don't know yet.
I heard I'd rather go to the Paris one. So seems like it's happening, but I don't have confirmation.
We'll see. But at least Basel seem to have, that it hasn't been announced yet, but.
Basel, I think it's happening.
Mhm.
Can I launch a message about this that I was launching yesterday while talking to a friend? So the Art Basel, the presence of the digital art in Art Basel is amazing, and it is amazing that all our people have been experiencing this, and it's really like hitting, like all these people from the digital art space are very happy to meet with traditional art collectors, institutions who come to the booth. It's very nice. It's great for everyone. But sometimes, like I hear, like here and there, that it's almost like a little bit like everyone now is very concentrated and very like aiming to participate only to this kind of like initiative, which is Art Basel, because Art Basel is happier for everyone. So I mean, my message is that, and specifically, for instance, it was about NFC that I was talking about, that let's not forget that the space needs a balance, meaning that if it is great that we are trying to find like new doors to reach more people, but there is all these other doors that are not only like already open, but they need to be like that to be kept in maintenance for real, like Jonas like says, like maintain the community, like keep talking and participating in events that are more like community oriented and blockchain. There are more like digital art native, because it is very good to find new bridges, but it is very bad to kind of like start abandoning the old ones. And so my message for me will be that we should try to keep 1 feet on one side and 1 feet on the other side. Otherwise, this is going to be another loss if we just now everyone only wants to do Art Basel. So that is my like.
And you know,
Thank
it's
Thank
also
you.
a balance between new models like NFC and Art Basel, because like John, this is something we've been talking. It's like you don't know if like the art fair model will still exist, and maybe the new model will be NFC. So I think this is important, and maybe we can plan a replay of Art Basel Hong Kong, John, in June in Lisbon.
Hey, yeah, I like the idea. No, and thank you, Eleonora, even if you're not on the screen anymore, for this. I really appreciate that. Because this is actually, I didn't want to talk about it, but as you're mentioning, of course, I'm questioning myself when I see Art Basel in the space now, because it's true that on one hand, a lot of energy and a lot of money is going there. So it's not going to us in a way. But on the other hand, we always had a different ambition, and I know that basically what I was mentioning also, I don't know how things will go. Art Basel is a business. Their business is not specifically dedicated to digital art. The art fair business, I don't know where it's going. What I know is in 5 years from now, NFC will still be mainly focused on digital art. But Art Basel, I don't know exactly where they will go. So far, they have an opportunity. If it goes not so well next year, and if money is not going, maybe they will reduce the digital sector. Maybe, I don't know. I don't hope so, to be honest. But I mean, at the end of the day, and the vision we have also for digital art is a bit different than being just one stuff inside of the contemporary art world. We believe in something more popular. We believe also of something with less gatekeepers in a way. Even if, again, I really appreciate, and I think it's very important, but I believe also that I believe in the bottom-up initiatives, and this is what we're trying to do, and this is why, we have this community in a way. So yeah, thank you very much, Eleonora, for mentioning that, and for people, who are hesitating, I think, you will see also this year that it's gonna be pretty crazy, to be honest. And Eleonora, just what is the to come back to just the last thing to Hong Kong. So your favorite mini crush in Hong Kong, what was it? The one that you really feel like was a top-notch one, except Boto maybe, because you mentioned it a lot.
That it was Boto, but and no, I mean, it was to have a booth presented, it was the only artist booth presented by an autonomous agent. It was kind of cool. Come on, it's the whole presentation bio and things was kind of cool. And then I liked all the presentations. Like Kim Asendorf was very nice. Collectors could interact. They had a pad. Collectors could interact directly with the piece, and they can also interact like on chain once they collect. But it was also like the performance, like you could interact with the piece. It was massive. It was, I mean, I love Kim Asendorf art, and the Solo's booth was very much fine art. Again, there was space for every personal, more oriented, like coming from a specific taste corner for people who are curious about digital art. So it's the only thing that I can say. I really appreciated to see Asian artists exhibited. There was the Asprey Studio Okay, I'm gonna give you this thing, which is very personal for me. Asper Studio was presenting all Asian artists, and it was presenting one of the artists was Chulele, and Chulele is an old artist. I was very happy. It was very fun because Chulele is part of the Stars Group, which is the group of Chinese artists who introduced contemporary art in China in the 80s, amongst which Ai Weiwei, Wang Keping, Huang Rui, and Chilele was there with his paintings. And this guy, at the age of 70 something, created like motion of his paintings with AI. He was very excited. It was in Art Basel. It was home in an art fair with very young people coming to interact with his artworks in a very different way. That's something that I am a fan, first of all, because it was like my dissertation at university, but also it was very cool to see, like, you go to China and you give space to Chinese artists and even to older artists to play with new tools. So that was something that I really liked.
Yeah. I saw this image is impressive also. Yeah. Okay, cool. And we can see the Asper Studio booth on the image. Thank you, Fanny, for displaying it. Okay, cool. No, it's amazing. So no, I don't know, Pauline, if you wanted to say one more thing before we close the space.
No, that we were meant to have Art Dubai this month, so we could have talked about it, but it's postponed. So it's going to happen. It's going to be another type of format with what's happening in the region, but they are, keeping it, which I think is really great for the region, but also for the space, because it's.
Can you tell? Sorry, I didn't follow this. How is it? How is it happening? Because for me it was cancelled. So yeah.
No, it is not cancelled. They have postponed it a month, so now it is from the 14th to the 17th of May, and they are adapting the format. So the team is working on how to make it happen, even with the conflicts in the region, and yeah, I think it's an important sign for the region, for contemporary art, for digital art, because this was one of the first contemporary art fairs to have an entire sector showcasing digital art. I think we shouldn't forget it. So the curators Nadine and Ulrich are working on making it happen. So I'm waiting for news, because we are meant to have a great partnership with them. So we'll see how it unfolds. But we hope that at least, even if maybe not so much people is going to travel, people from the region will, and that you'll have this focus. So I think, like, to support the crowd here, collecting from Art Dubai will be a thing.
Okay, interesting. So, and Art Dubai mid-May, and with something. Okay, they decided to go ahead. It's a nice choice, because a lot of events has been cancelled in the region. So okay, cool. And maybe just basically, so next month, so we have May. No, we are April. Sorry, I was talking about May. Is there anything? What is planned for 100 Collector in April? Is there something specifically?
So we'll go ahead, Fanny.
I can see that Fanny is showing the agenda now.
Well, there's many things. I mean, there's many things happening in more of the art side from in Brazil. There's Expo Chicago, of Barcelona, which is a big festival. There is a San Francisco Art Fair as well. I know, in January there was a San Francisco Art Week, but it's not traditionally the main art time in San Francisco, which is happening mid-April at the same time as Beeple being presented at Node. And then Bitcoin 2026 in Las Vegas, on the Web3 side. And then one thing to really not sleep on is this new art fair, Conductor Art Fair, which is organized in Brooklyn at Powerhouse Arts, which is very strong. It's one of the most recent art fairs. It's very interesting. So yeah, lots, and obviously this is just the physical events. There's many other things planned. We'll pay attention as well for this week in Cannes. There's a great exhibition like called Not Crypto Art event, which is curated by Diane Drube and Brian Artemore. So this is also to
Nice.
pay attention to.
And there is Art Paris as well.
It's Art Paris, yes. Sorry, like totally, yes.
When
Like,
is that Paris? When is that Paris?
It's 9 to 12th of April.
9 to 12th of April. And by the way, as we mentioned, I think Souline, there is a show also, a Souline show in Paris. With,
Ores Vetier at Artverse as well. And there is still Benoit Chalon at Gallery A&E in Paris. So all of that is, there's a whole mini agenda for Art Paris if you're in Paris.
Okay, amazing. Eleonora?
Yes.
You will have time to get a massage in Hong Kong now?
I need to go to pick my visa for China.
Next step, China. Amazing.
Yeah. Moving to
Okay,
China.
Okay, now thank you very much, Eleonora. It was
Thank
really
you.
it was really insightful, and for people following. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I don't know if I mentioned it, but on Friday we will have Jack Butcher, coming back exactly on his release. And we have a preview.
Roll the dice.
You have the dices. Wow, the dice. Wow. Okay. So and actually, you follow us next week because we will have a few more projects, maybe Robert Alice, maybe Jonas Long, and Office Impart, and maybe a few others, that will have a dedicated interview in the NFT morning. So I invite all of you to follow, what's going on. And also, as we're talking about the program, Thursday next week, so Thursday, April 9, we will be with Marlene Corben, Kellen Iwamoto, and a few more to talk about the Barcode X and Julien Silvano, Barcode X exhibition. So more to come in the NFT morning. I'm bringing Remy on stage because I like to see his face. Hey, Remy! So he didn't know. He was not expecting this. So thank you, everybody.
No, I'm always ready.
No, thank you, and thank you very much. Don't forget, to follow 100 Collectors on Twitter first, and check. And you can go on their website also, 100collectors.art. To discover the club. Have a great day, have a great week, and good morning.
Ming!
Happy. Good morning. Really happy. Good morning. To be with you.